Hey, welcome to Daily Faith today. My name is Philip Cameron, and I am so glad you've passed our way today. God works in mysterious ways, His wonders to perform. And I've learned one thing in my life, that He gets me to where I need to be. He talks to me when I need to hear something. And I believe today that God has a rhema word for you. I've got a great guest, one of the men that I hold in high esteem, that has, you know someone. I've never met him before, but I know of his work and have been amazed at how God has used him in so many different diverse places. And Mark Rutland is with me, pastor, a great pastor, a leader, and I feel kind of overawed by him being here today. So if I stutter and stammer more than I normally do, you'll know why. It's not just my Scottish accent, it's because Mark Rutland is on the program. We drove last night, we were down in Florida speaking all last week, and my voice is just a bit under the weather right this minute, but it's good to be with you today, and we want you to share this program if you can with us. It'd be a great help. You can also just pass it on to your friends, and if you want to, you can hit there's a wee button that'll let you know when we come on the air. And you can also watch us on YouTube. It's very simple, youtube.com/Daily Faith. And we're here, all the programs we've done, hundreds and hundreds of programs over the last number of years. Whatever you're going through today, somewhere in that catalog, there's a program that we spoke about your battle. I'm amazed how faithful God is. The older I'm getting and the more I've been doing this, I'm now in my 56th year of traveling and speaking in this country. The more that I travel and the more I see and the more I experience, the more I know that I serve a sovereign God who knows me, who knows my downsitting, who knows my uprising, and who is faithful to accomplish in my life what He has determined to do. And if you're watching today and you're going through the worst time of your life, let me tell you something. All the ingredients of failure, all of the ingredients of your failure is what God uses as ingredients for your miracle. Like there's flour and eggs and butter and milk, and it all goes together, each one by itself. Having a mouthful of flour doesn't do much. A raw egg doesn't do much. But when you put them all together and you put them in the oven, then suddenly something worthwhile eating comes out of it. And what God does with your mistakes, He takes them as ingredients and He puts them together and mixes them by grace and then puts them in His oven of love. And the thing that you thought was the worst thing that ever happened, I'm sure when Paul was knocked off his horse on the way to Damascus, I bet he didn't think happy thoughts. But what God was doing was God was bringing him to a place that He could use him. And whatever you're going through, if you're a pastor, this program, I believe, is ordained by God for you, because God has a way of turning our despair into delight. He's got a way of making a way where there is no way. In my life, the things that I've thought were the worst things, most of the miracles I've seen performed in my life have started out by a disaster, an unmitigated failure. And I thought, well, there's just no point. This is the end. And God says, no. You don't understand. I'm just clearing the decks for a brand new thing to take place in your life. And Mark Rutland has had incredible experience. I believe he would have amongst the leaders in the church today alive in this country. Brother Mark has had more experience of going into a situation, being parachuted into a fire, and having an answer from the Lord to turn mistakes into miracles. And I really believe that God's ordained you to be where you are today to watch this program. I am delighted you're here. Welcome to Daily Faith. Welcome to Daily Faith today. My name is Philip Cameron, and I am absolutely delighted that you are watching with us. We have got a very important program today. Let me tell you, the biggest thing, I had a story one time that the devil decided to go into retirement. And he told his minions and the demons of hell, I've done enough damage, I'm going to retire. And all the demons were shocked. And he said, but there's one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take one weapon with me into retirement. And one of the minions said, what is that, master? And an evil smile crossed Satan's face, and he says, the weapon of discouragement. If the devil can discourage us to the point of quitting, then he doesn't have to fight you in a big way. He's just got to make your heart sick. He's just got to make you so disappointed in yourself, in other people, in what your dream has been. And if he can make you fail at that point, then he's got you beat. Well, I've got a friend. This man, I've known of, you ever met someone and you've never met him, and you've watched for years and years, and you've watched him go into circumstances, and you've said, boy, better you than me. Well, this is the guy. This is the guy. Mark Rutland is a great man of God, a great pastor, a great leader. And I've watched him over the years and admired him. And I can't believe that he has taken the time to be on Daily Faith with us today. He's written a book, Keep On Keeping On. And one of my great heroes of my life is Winston Churchill. And if ever a man kept on going on in spite of overwhelming odds and coming out victorious, he did. And I'm going to let you meet him in a few moments, and I believe that he has a rhema word for you today. Don't you quit. God had you tune in today to Daily Faith for a purpose, and I'm just so excited. As many of you know, we have a mission work. 35 years ago, my dad called me from Scotland and told me that he was watching babies dying. And I said, what on earth are you talking about? What he was talking about was Romania during the fall of the Berlin Wall and all that time when Eastern Europe and communism collapsed. There was a country called Romania with a dictator called Nicolae Ceausescu who had tortured and beaten his people for decades. And they rose up against him. But the residue of what this man did was that there was orphanages full of kids falling apart. I had no interest in orphanages. I was busy building a Bible school. I'd written a book on household salvation that had sold 300,000 copies. And my dad had just interrupted me in ticking all the boxes, a nice house, a nice car, a busy schedule. I had all the dreams I wanted to do. And he says, there are babies dying. And I says, what are you talking about? And he kept calling me. He was recovering from cancer surgery. And one day he called me and says, well, if you won't go and help them, I'm going to go. And if I die on the way, it's your fault. And that's how I was dragged, kicking and screaming, into the world of missions. And we went to Romania and found this orphanage. And I'm writing a book just now called Moments. And your world is made up of moments. Listen to me. There are moments of failure and moments of success, but God's bigger than them all. He is the master chef that can turn mistakes into miracles. And if you keep going on, don't quit. God's going to see you through. So we started this place in Moldova, a country the poorest in Europe, highest percentage of alcohol in the world. And the result of that is kids are put on the street. At 16, young girls are trafficked. And God helped us build the most amazing village called Vatra Village. It was built originally for rich people to have a summer dacha on that lake you're looking at. And they poisoned the lake with chlorine to kill algae, and that whole village just fell apart. And we bought it. And today it is full of young girls and boys that we take off the street and tell them, if you're born, God has a plan. And these young kids that are orphans are becoming sons and daughters and then missionaries. And they are involved constantly in outreach. The most amazing things I've ever seen. We've been in Ukraine for 9 years, long before the war broke out. And our orphan kids have been giving and caring and preaching the gospel. I've never seen anything like it. And they do their own videos and they send them to me. And we just got a video of a young girl's testimony that's been redeemed by the love of God from a horrendous circumstance. Her name is Aliona. Watch this.
Every day, my mother would prepare our clothes and place them outside, just in case my father came home drunk. That way, we could quickly grab them, get dressed, and run. My name is Alona, and I am studying to become a baker. My dream is to build a successful career in pastry. Growing up, my home was never truly safe. My father would always come home drunk, and every time, my heart would pound with fear. I knew what was coming. My mother would be beaten again, and each time we had to flee, running through the night, knocking on neighbors' door, begging them to take us in. I remember one night when we couldn't escape in time. My father came home drunk and attacked my mother. Somehow, she managed to break free, and we, the children, ran with her as fast as we could, terrified. But he started throwing stones at us as we fled, and the pain of that moment left a deep scar in my heart. The few times he didn't drink felt like stolen moments of happiness. In those rare days, our home wasn't filled with screams, and I clung to those moments, hoping they would last, but they never did. By the time I turned 15, we had lived in 5 different places, trying to escape him. Yet, no matter where we went, he always found us, always dragged us back into fear. But now, thank God he doesn't come anymore. I am incredibly grateful to the Orphan's Hands family for giving me this opportunity to stay here in such a wonderful home, for giving me the chance to study and have a future. Thank you.
In the hands of the trafficker, Aliona is worth $300,000 a year. They use them 30 to 50 times a day and then throw them on the garbage heap. No one cares. We get them before the trafficker. We bring them to our place at Vatra Village and also in Odessa, Ukraine. And we put them back in school, and we tell them, if you are born, God has a plan. You are not a mistake. And the amazing thing is, just a wee bit of grace and a wee bit of mercy and kindness, and these kids blossom. And the amazing thing is that Vatra Village today, as we speak, every one of the house parents are kids that we rescued 15 and 17 and 20 years ago, now married with their own families. And so we're now in the 2nd generation of kids caring for these kids. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And part of the miracle of this at Vatra Village, each of the houses sponsors a village for a year, finds out every widow. They never have to worry about food or heat or warm clothes. Our kids go and dig their gardens for vegetables for the summertime. All through the year we have camps and outreaches, and everyone will lead to the Lord Jesus. I just heard the other day of a woman that had 4 kids to 4 different men. She lived with the men to survive, just to eat and to feed her babies. And then that guy kicked her out, and the next guy took her in, and she got pregnant again 4 times. And she got saved, and she's never missed a service because of the kids, the orphans' hands that go out into these worlds. And we need your help to keep us growing and going. We're about to start a brand new project for 50 little kids between the age of 4 to 16. It's a brand new thing. We've just bought the houses, and we're believing God for the funds to continue buying the houses and support them. And you can help us if you could. And any gift you can give right now, monthly support is our biggest thing. $1 a day is the key to all that you've seen right now. All of those girls are there because of someone giving $1 a day. And you can help us by writing us. It's really simple. P.O. Box 25, Clinton, Tennessee, 37716. You can go to our 800 number, 1-833 Daily Faith. That's right. 1-833. I've been off for a week and I'm rusty. 833 Daily Faith. Or you can go to dailyfaith.tv and give a gift right there. You can make this miracle grow into the lives of other kids. just like Aliona. And if you would, I'd appreciate it so much. I am so honored to have with me today Pastor Mark Rutland. He's a great man of God, one of the leaders in the church today across the whole denominations of the church. And he has a ministry called Global Servants and has the same heartbeat as we have here at Orphans' Hands. And I love it. And I'm just honored to have him with us today. Pastor Mark, thank you for taking the time. I know you're as a busy man as I am, and I was traveling home last night, and you were traveling home, or I don't think you've arrived home yet. Is that correct?
No, I'm not home yet. I just got in from Rhode Island. I spoke at a church right on the Massachusetts-Rhode Island border last night, so I flew in, and so I'm not home yet.
Oh, God. Well, listen, I want to thank you and honor you for your leadership in the church over the years. I've watched you and frankly watched you being thrown into lions' dens, and I thought, oh my goodness, I am so glad I'm not him. And I've watched God use you in your wisdom to heal and restore and remake things. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate you for being such a key element in so many different circumstances.
Well, thank you. What a gracious thing for you to say. I was listening to the introduction, and you talked about parachuting into the fire, and I thought, I never thought of it that way. That's about what I've done my whole life.
You have. That's the times I've read either in the press or I've heard, and I thought, oh my Lord, what is this man? He's got a death wish. And but I've watched the results, and God using you to be the means by which everything comes back together again and begins to move forward in faith. You've written a brand new book, and I know you've written many, many books. And when I saw this one, I thought, wow, I should have written this book. He's stolen the title from me, and it's called Keep On Keeping On. And I love the cover of it, and it's a humorous cover because you're using humor to drive a point home. That the point is, if the devil doesn't know what to do with someone that won't quit.
Yes, the Bible says a merry heart doeth good like medicine.
Yes.
So I say to everybody, buy that book and take your medicine like a big boy. If you're going to deal with things like going on, working hard, keeping your joy, keeping your life vitality, keeping your faith into your senior years, I felt that a spoonful of sugar would make the medicine go down. So the book is not like any of this is my 20th book.
Wow.
It's totally different from the previous 19. It's funny, it's lighthearted, but it does drive home the point. I just came to my 70s, and I realized I didn't want to spend my senior years chasing kids out of my yard. You get away from my apple trees. Sure. I just didn't want to be that mean old guy. And then I realized I don't want anybody to be that mean old person.
No.
We live by faith and not by fear. We live with joy. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Why should all that hemorrhage just because we get older? We used to sing that song. I think, who wrote it? Bill Gaither, Sweeter Gets the Journey Every Day. Remember that?
I do.
Well, if the journey gets sweeter every day, why shouldn't we?
That's so true.
Why do we have to be sour old people? And I just said, let's learn to embrace this process of aging with joy unspeakable and full of glory.
Well, what you don't know is this, that next month I am 70. I am 70 years of age. I can't believe it. I looked in the mirror the other day. I thought, Philip Cameron, you are going to be 70 years of age. And it does have a psychological effect on you.
Yes.
It really does. I've been having issues with my voice for the last couple of years. I've just had surgery a few weeks ago. And things that you never thought about, things that youth kind of pushes back. And suddenly you're aware of a voice that isn't as strong as it used to be. And if you're not careful, the devil comes along as an accuser of the brethren, as the accuser of the brethren, and starts telling you you've hit your limit, you've gone as far as you can go. It's time to compromise and pull back. And I just think, and I'm so glad you're on the program with me today, because a few weeks ago I said to my son Andrew, I said, maybe it's time for me to quit because my voice is not getting better. And he says, Dad, no, you can't quit. You got to keep on going. And this program, I don't care who else is watching it, but I sure am being challenged by you. It's not time to quit. It's time to be sweeter and embrace what God's got for us next.
Yeah, things change. I mean, our bodies change. Things hurt that didn't used to hurt.
That's true.
Stuff doesn't work that used to work, and you have to kind of have a sense of humor about all that. I was speaking at a church recently, and after the service, somebody came up to the platform to talk to me, shake my hand. It was only 2.5, 3 feet, and I started to jump down and shake their hand, and then I said, "No, that looks like a broken hip." And so I just walked down to the end of the stage and walked down the steps. Okay, what does that hurt? You embrace it, the reality of your life, and you change.
I was speaking down in Florida yesterday, and we have a small plane that gets me around faster. But my son Andrew had driven down in we have a van that we travel in also for closer services. And I says, "No, I'm going to drive home with you." And so it was about a 10-hour journey yesterday night. Got in at midnight last night. And about 2 hours into this journey, I'm thinking, "Philip, you are an idiot. What are you doing?" My back was sore. Other parts around that area were sore. And I thought, yeah, this is not a good idea. And before I had done that and not thought anything about it. And but I do believe that your attitude determines how the circumstance of life affects you.
Yes. You know, people misunderstand the phrase "a sense of humor." A sense of humor is not knowing what's funny. Any idiot knows what's funny.
Yeah.
A sense of humor is knowing what's funny about you. And to be able to laugh at yourself in your senior years makes you charming and winsome and attractive. Sure. The outward things that we concentrated so on when we were young, they become increasingly impossible. You can't. It just comes to a place where you can't hide the fact that you're creeping up on 70. I'm creeping up on 80, and they just come to the place where you can't hide that. But what you can nurture is the joy and the delight of serving God inside. Our son pastors a great church. And so when I'm not on the road, I love to go to the church, and I hang around the lobby and shake hands with people. And I love to joke around with the teenagers and talk with them and tell them how good looking they are and all that kind of thing. When the youth pastor resigned and moved on to another church, the teenagers asked Travis to make me the youth pastor. Well, of course, I didn't do it because it would just be one lock-in and I'd be a dead man. but the honor of it, that they found this old dude to be fun to be with.
Yeah, I've got 9 grandkids, and what amazes me, and my own kids, I read somewhere you're a rich man if your kids have the possibility of leaving, but they want to stay. And we as a family have stayed. My family's my best friends. We're our best company. And I often think, wow, you know, if I were a mean old man, I would drive them away from me. So I must be doing something right that wants my kids to hang around and you know, be a part of my life. And I know there are folk watching just now that are on the same journey that we are in this moment. And tell us, give us an idea as to how we get up when we fall down. How do you recover in your spirit from the realization that I'm not what I used to be, I'm not as strong. My son has to open those little flimsy bottles of water that drive me nuts, because as you squeeze them, you got to grip it and I have a fountain and I say, "Andrew, open this blessed bottle of water before I lose my salvation." How do we adjust with ourselves to do that?
Well, the way we have to deal with it really is simple when you think of it. We are changing. Yeah. God is not. So we walk with the unchanging God through the changes of our lives. Yeah. And that's what makes it redemptive and fun. It's an adventure to walk with an unchanging God who is absolutely the same God he was when I was 25. God hasn't aged. God is not forgetting
No,
things.
no.
God is not hurting. So that unchanging God is still with me as he has been since forever, the unchanging God in my changing life.
Amen.
That's what makes me able to get up in the morning and get on with it, even though I am changing. And I have to be able to laugh at those changes. But you know what happens is that we live in such a changing world
Oh, that's true.
that it makes people afraid. When I was a kid, the only people that had tattoos were old sailors and
Sailors,
pirates.
say in Scotland, that's exactly the truth. Yes.
So now you go to a wedding and the bride comes down the aisle and she's got a death's head tattooed between her shoulder blades.
Yes.
And you think, is she a pirate? You know?
Yes.
So you go through the checkout line at the grocery store and all the magazines have people that are obviously famous and you have no
No
clue who they
clue.
are.
I have no
And
idea.
so, yeah, you watch TV and they're advertising things on TV and I don't know what they are and I don't know what they do. And so I say to myself, this is a strange new world I'm living in.
It's so true.
How do I keep that from making me fearful
Yeah.
and angry? Because I'm experiencing the adventure of a strange new world with the unchanging faithfulness of
Hallelujah.
God.
As he was, so shall he be.
Amen.
And he is the anchor point for your heart. If you're watching today and your whole world is in transition and shifting, I've got news for you. There is an anchor that keeps the soul. And he never ages. He never changes. And he's the one constant thing. I'm the same. The tattoo thing drives me crazy. My youngest daughter, oh my Lord, she went to Australia to Hillsong and came back full of tattoos and piercings. I almost died. I thought, and she says, "Oh, Dad, get over it. It's not a big deal." And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You've just ruined my whole life. And I'll tell you a funny story. I had to get some infusions of iron, and they couldn't find any veins on my arm, and it was terrible every day, painful. And I got so sick of it that one day they found a vein, and it was a rich gusher. It was a good one. And I went out of the hospital, and I saw a tattoo parlor. And I walked into the tattoo parlor and I says, "How much will you charge me to mark that spot right there?" So they tattooed a wee dot on my arm. So I called my daughter and I said, "Lornan, your dad got ink today." She says, "You did not." I says, "Yes, I did." So I roll up my sleeve, and she was expecting to see all these tattoos on my arm, and there's one wee dot right where they can get oil, they can strike oil. So I moved just a wee bit from the old world to the new world by one single dot. So that's my claim to modernity. Tell us about your work in Thailand. I really am interested in what God's using you to do there.
Well, I listened to your work, and really, it's amazingly similar.
Wow.
We have in Southeast Asia, in northern Thailand, and in West Africa, we have houses of grace. It is to, of course, once a girl has been trafficked, for her to be rescued is a wonderful thing.
It's
But
miraculous.
what I was concerned with was by that time, huge damage has been done.
Yes.
So what I wanted to do was get ahead of it.
That's what we've
So
done.
we go to the villages in the mountains of Thailand and in northern Ghana, and we make an economic argument to the chief or the headman or whatever. We say, "Look, let House of Grace raise the girl, and we promise she will make more money than she would in a brothel, and she won't die with AIDS." And since 1986, we have in Southeast Asia, we have 14 buildings on 2 campuses. Hundreds and hundreds of girls have come through. We have 3 attorneys that have come through. We pay everything, any school they can get into in Thailand or Ghana. We pay tuition, room, board, everything. And it's just been I heard you say about your house parents. Of course, we're all girls. All our house mothers are now graduates of House of Grace. And it's the when I look back over my life, the thing that gives me, of all the turning around 2 universities, a
Yes,
mega church,
yes.
20 books, everything, the thing that gives me the greatest, deepest sense of satisfaction is actually House of Grace.
I'm exactly the same. We are doing exactly the same thing in different places. We tried to rescue girls from trafficking, and we failed. They were so broken and so damaged that they absolutely just went back to the people that were abusing them. And we just says, well, you know. And so what we do is we go to the orphanage or we go to the village exactly the same way, and say, look, we'll put you in school. We'll pay. One of our girls just graduated as a doctor, 6 years. We supported her and her mother for 6 years to get her through, and she is now a doctor. If you would like to help this amazing work in Thailand, it's called Global Servants, 30 Curtis Court, Suite 300, Cartersville, Georgia. You can go online and get them, www.globalservants.org, globalservants.org. I encourage you today to go and give a gift to this ministry. They're doing the same work as we are in Moldova and Ukraine. They're doing it in Thailand and West Africa. And as you are helping these kids, if I could take you there, it wouldn't be a hardship to get you to give. I promise you.
That's true.
It wouldn't be hard, because whenever you saw the miracle and how God is working through these ministries, and I encourage you, please, go globalservants.org. It's on all of these pages in front of me, globalservants.org. And you can get this book, Keep On Going On, and you can get it on Amazon and other places, and on charismashop.com. I want you to get this book and give it to someone that might be looking for the word of encouragement, that this book, and a wee smile on their face at the same time. And also, I'm sure that Mark Rutland would come and speak in your church if you'd ask him really nicely. And you can get in contact with him, drmarkrutland.com. We thank you so much today for being with us. Please come back if you will, and be a part of Daily Faith again.
Thank you. It's been a joy to be with you. God bless you, and God bless your work worldwide.
Thank you, my friend. God bless. Thank you for watching Daily Faith. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.